What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to start back working on the 79 Cherokee. So I've been posting on my channel the progress that I've been making on this 79 Cherokee. It started out as a 360 inside of the engine bay, but has now been replaced with a 5.3 out of a 2003 Yukon XL. And what I've done so far axle wise, I did swap in wide track axles out of a Cherokee Chief. So on my social medias, I've been calling this thing a Cherokee Chief, and technically it's not. It's a Cherokee S, and you can tell by the fenders, you know, everything's pulled in. So it's a Cherokee S, but I call it a Cherokee Chief because I put Cherokee Chief axles in it. But you see on this side right here, I cut the fenders off anyway. So if it was a Cherokee Chief, I would have just chopped the fenders off anyway. So I'm super excited to start this video tonight because I'm gonna start working on getting the 1-ton axles in. What this is, I've talked about it in a couple of my older videos. This is a 1979 Dana 60 out of a F250. This is the highly sought after Snow Fighter edition Dana 60s. I've personally never built one of these axles. I've always wanted to. The reason that I really wanted to go with this axle is because the leaf spring perches will bolt right in to the Cherokee. So for right now, I'm going to keep everything on leaf springs until who knows when. I'm going to eventually do a 3-link up front, but for right now, because it bolts in, that's what I'm going to be doing. So this video series is probably going to take 2 or 3 videos, possibly 4, about getting the 1-tons inside of the Cherokee. So tonight, what we're going to start working on is getting everything prepped so this axle can go in. I've been slowly gathering parts, getting all my bearings, my seals, brake parts, and diff covers and everything like that. So we're going to go through everything while it's going on. So what has been done to this axle so far? I actually took this axle to a buddy of mine, Fred Dawson. So while I've been doing other stuff, getting the motor in, he has been working on getting the gears and the locker inside of this axle. He also replaced the kingpin springs and everything inside there for me, but I'm going with Yukon 488 gears in this Jeep. I don't plan on running anything bigger than a 37, 38. So I did go with the 488s in this Jeep because I will be driving it a lot on the highway. Some other goodies that I have the Warren Premium manual hubs, and also got the yoke. Got that from East Coast Gear Supply. And I also got the Yukon Hardcore differential cover. This thing is insane. So a cool story with this differential cover, I actually got $150 off of this Yukon Hardcore differential cover. I won a gift card for $150 to anything Yukon gear and axle related through Randy's Differentials. I won it on Instagram from Green with Envy JL on Instagram. So shout out to Yukon Gear and Axle and Green with Envy JL on Instagram. So I think these differentials are like $200 something. But anyway, I got $150 off of it, so super pumped about that. Because these axles are not cheap to build. There's no axles that's really cheap to build, but any bit helps. So these are the original hubs that came with this axle, and I posted to my social media, I made a reel of getting this nasty grease out. It was absolutely disgusting, and I'm 99.9% sure it was the original grease from 1979. But what I'm going to start working on tonight is I'm going to show you how to get this hub, this nasty hub, to look like this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just go ahead and start getting off this nasty surface rust mixed with grease. For one thing, it looks terrible, and another thing, you know, it's going to be the mating surface, so when the brake rotor goes on, you know, it's going to be mounted to that side, and you just don't want any contaminants in there, anything like that. So that's going to start doing just a wire brush just to clean it up. And always, before you start messing with any wire brush, just make sure you wear some glasses, because you'll find those little wires on your shirt, and I've even found them in my beard. So just make sure you wear eye protection before you start messing with anything wire wheels. So as soon as I started using this wire wheel, that I noticed instantly that it started spinning. So with a touch of a welder, it won't spin no more. Doing is I've sprayed it with brake clean, and now I'm just going around and just trying to clean it up as best as possible. You're not going to get it all perfect, because you know it does have some pitting and the rust, and we're not going to get rid of all that, but I just wanted to make it where I can paint it and it'll look nice. I got everything pretty much as good as it's going to get before paint. I did take a piece of sandpaper and just go around the edges just to kind of get some of that, look like somebody had hit it with a hammer or something like that. So I did get some of those imperfections out of it. And I also drilled out the holes here with I think it's a 39/64 drill bit. I am upgrading the lug studs. I'm going to a 9/16 lug stud versus the 1/2 inch that were on there before. So what I'll do is, you know, I'll get these pressed in, but I won't do that until after I paint it and clean everything out. So I just wanted to go ahead and drill these out before I clean out in here. That way, in case a piece of metal jumps in there, I don't have to clean it twice. And just in case you're building a Dana 60 and you're curious what the wheel studs are, this is them. That's the part numbers, Dorman. These were the ones that were recommended on Pirate 4x4, and everything on Pirate 4x4 is true apparently. So these are the ones I went with. Hopefully they'll work. The next thing that I'll be doing is I'll be taking the bearing races out. I hope y'all can see in there. I know it's really gross, but so I got to get the bearing races out, and then I'm going to start cleaning up that grease from 1979 out. So we have a bearing race on the very inside right here. I hope y'all can see it. Then there's one right here. So I'll be getting the hardest one out first with a bunch of punches and chisels and a bunch of stuff. And what I'm doing is I'm just working in a circle all the way around while I'm punching it. And it doesn't look like it's broke free yet. There it goes, a little bit. Alright, so now it's moving. And that was it. Alright. It's trash. So now we'll get this one out. So I got the inside of the hub as clean as I want it to get, and I threw some paint on it. You can see my paint booth back here. So while that paint is drying, I'm going to start working on the hub that I've already cleaned and painted. I'll show you right here. So I did get a stud in, just double checking that they fit. It went. It seated perfectly. But so what I'm going to start doing now is I did go ahead and put one of the new races in, and now I just got to flip it around and get the inside race in. So I'll show you how to do that. So a little trick that I'll show you that what a lot of old school people do is whenever you're getting these races in, you put them in the freezer. So this has probably been in the freezer probably about a week or so, just to make sure that it's shrunk down as much as it's going to be, and hopefully it'll make it a lot easier when we're tapping it in. There's something so rewarding to me when you're opening up a brand new drum of wheel bearing grease. It's like cinnamon rolls on Christmas morning or something. I figured I'd share with you. Look at that. Oh, I got ripped off. Look at that air pocket. So I am going to take some of this wheel bearing grease and just very lightly coat the wall where that race will be sitting. That way there is a little bit of lubrication as that race is being seated. Alright, so I'm going to take the very, very cold race and get it as far as it'll go to where it stops. And you want to make sure that it stays straight as possible. And the reason I have it tilted is so y'all can see. See, it's kind of stopping right there. Alright, so now I'll get it set up. And so the punch that I'm going to be using, once I clean it, is a round tip, and I'm just going to slowly start working my way around it. And it does take a little bit of patience getting it started. And what I like to do whenever I'm hammering in these races is I don't like to use a workbench. I like to do it on the concrete floor because you can actually hear the difference. I don't know if you'll be able to tell on the camera, but you'll be able to hear the difference whenever this race seats. All right, you can also look on the back right here and see that it's seated. So that one's done. Flip it over and get to this next one. And do the same thing, just lightly coat the walls with a little grease. Alright, so now I'm just going to slowly start working my way around with this one. Alright, so that one is ready. The next thing that I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and put this rotor on the back of the hub with the new lug nuts. So I'll show you the difference. So these are the ones that I drilled out with the, what was it? The 39/64 drill bit. I'll show you the new lug studs. So these are the original lug studs, and these are the new ones. Gonna start packing these bearings. So once again, going back to my wheel bearing grease, and I'm just gonna go ahead and dedicate, and make sure your hands are clean, probably cleaner than mine. You go ahead and get that on there. And so what you do is you just take the back side of the bearing and you start pushing that grease in there. So what you're looking for is you're looking for this right here. You're looking for that grease coming out, knowing that those rollers right here are going to be lubricated. Oops, there we go. All right, I'm just going to start working that in there. All right. So this extra grease, I'm just gonna rub in there. All right. Looks pretty good. So while I got my hands all messy, I'm gonna go ahead and start lubricating this seal. So I'm gonna lubricate where the seal will be meeting the spindle. I'll show you all of that in a second, because you definitely don't want to tear that. And see, the seal goes on this way, so I kind of got it greased up, but the spring on the inside, that goes to the inside of the hub. So make sure that you put this seal on correctly. So then we will flip it over. And we're going to do the same thing for this.